My ex-GF ended our relationship over differences in communication style. Can communication this poor be addressed? She claims we are fundamentally incompatible due to our communication styles. I believe that we never effectively attempted to address the issue. All of our other issues likely branch from this discrepancy in communication style. Our styles are different in terms of honesty versus kindness. I believe that frequent, honest communication about feelings and problems in the relationship should be aired out regularly and worked on together. However, in practice, I would often have trouble delivering a concern or criticism without sugarcoating or compliment sandwiching my point, often leading to her misunderstanding or becoming offended. She believes, to the best of my understanding, that communication between partners should be easy and always kind, that protecting each other's feelings is more important in communications than delivering difficult concerns or criticisms. This would often lead her to keep relationship concerns inside her head until they boiled over and took me by surprise. I don't think that either of us are necessarily wrong. Both styles can exist simultaneously: honesty and kindness. It's important to mention at this point that we both deal with anxiety and would often spin each other up when attempting to voice relationship concerns. We were together about 3 years, mostly during the pandemic. When our relationship started, I was in a bad place emotionally. I didn't like myself, didn't want children, and questioned whether I had the capacity to love someone else. She saw the light in me. She showered me with love, encouraged me to love myself, and seek therapy. She had been in and out of therapy for years to address her anxiety. I had never been, and I welcomed the idea. However, I worked a job with incredibly unpredictable hours and could not lock down an appointment with a therapist during the height of the pandemic. In 2021, I believe she ran low on love to give. She left me because the communication was poor, and she wanted children while I didn't know if I did. I found a short-term, over-the-phone therapist to deal with the breakup. She wasn't very good, but it was a step in the right direction. During the separation, my ex and I began communicating better and had several deep conversations about our love, goals, and future together. About 6 months later, we got back together under a couple of conditions: that we would work on our communication, and I would explore my fears of raising children. I am an only child of a single mother via divorce, major fear of heading a family unit due to lack of experience. I told her then that I absolutely wanted marriage and children with her, but I was not ready. We moved in together. I began exploring fatherhood over time by talking to dads I knew, old and young, to get a better perspective and decide what I wanted. We did not work on our communication. As our friends started having children and getting engaged, she became increasingly concerned for our future. This came to a boiling point during a March 2023 trip together to meet her parents. We had a long conversation about marriage where I expressed my greatest fears about the institution, that of all the marriages in my friends and family circles, there were very few examples of what I recognized as successful ones. I wanted to protect myself by being sure our relationship was ready for marriage and children. I reiterated that I wanted marriage and children with her, but improving our communication was necessary before I could propose. She interpreted this conversation to understand that I do not believe in marriage. By April, I could recognize that the relationship was crumbling, and I made a push to find a good therapist. I found one, and within 2 to 3 sessions it was pointed out to me that I too deal with a lot of anxiety, and that I've always wanted children. Fear was holding me back. I reported this to her, but it was too late. By May she had decided to break up and move out. Once again, during our breakup, we aired out many of our concerns with the relationship, and getting it out improved our day-to-day interactions. Her reasons: poor, difficult communication, that I will never want children as much as her, and she felt neglected. What she did not mention until August was that she had internally decided back in February that she wanted to end the relationship. I was devastated, because none of these appeared accurate to me. We never effectively addressed our communication. I know that I 100% want children, and that for the last several months I felt that my sheer presence was causing her anxiety, and I didn't know what to do about it. Easy to feel neglected when I observed a change in her behavior and was not aware that she was already checked out. I did recognize and apologize for her feelings of neglect, citing that I had been laid off from work in February and was struggling emotionally again. So, there you have it. We were in love and had the same goals for our future, but could not establish effective lines of communication. I felt like I spent 3 years trying to get her to open up to me more frequently about her concerns, and she felt that she spent 3 years supporting my emotions and waiting for me to figure myself out. I believe all successful relationships require work from both parties, and she believes that relationships and communications within them should be easy. I believe that I did that work, and she believes that I took too long to do it. Our relationship was peppered with frequent misunderstandings due to our different styles of communication and anxiety surrounding ourselves. Are we too different? Is it too late for counseling? How might we be better able to open up to, and more importantly, understand each other or new partners in the future? Both of us feel like we worked hard in different ways and let a great love slip away from us. Next story 2. I think my girlfriend of 2 years emotionally cheated on me. My girlfriend and I have had about 4 months of consistent fights, and it was all uncovered recently. I think it was the end of May. I put a post up in this group asking advice on how to go about handling my girlfriend becoming very close to a male co-worker. She insisted there was nothing to worry about and she didn't want me to stress because it would jeopardize her friendship. She struggled to make friends at the time, so was worried I would impact it. From then until now we've had very consistent fights about effort being put into the relationship and how I've continued to buy her nice things, prioritize time to spend with her, compliment her, etc. Whereas in contrast, I got very little of any of that. It devastated me genuinely. The word I would use is rejection. I suggested time together and often got rejected. I got rejected when initiating intimacy. I rarely got compliments. Weirdly, the most upset I was in this period was when I drove to her house before she started work to give her a little gift I knew she would like. I gave it to her and she seemed happy. When I went to give her a kiss she pulled away and said she didn't want her lipstick ruined. That one stung. She wasn't in a rush, so I thought she could just reapply lipstick. Recently, I was sleeping at hers and she went on a night out with her girlfriends. They went to a function that ended at 1 or 2 in the morning. All of the girls went home afterwards except my girlfriend, who met up with her male friend I mentioned earlier. I woke up at 7 a.m. to her coming home and getting into bed. I got quite angry and asked her where she was and what was she doing coming in at this hour. I was obviously fearing the worst. She insisted that she didn't cheat but said that she was having issues with our relationship recently because of the feelings she had for this new guy. We had a back and forth and I insisted that she cut him off and we work on our clearly fractured relationship, which she agreed to. She agreed after about 9 hours of thinking about it, concerning. Since then, she has cut him off and our relationship has been tough. I'm struggling to trust her and I'll admit I'm definitely not pleasant to be around at times. I've become argumentative and triggered at a lot of things that previously didn't bother me. I was also so sure of myself as an individual and now I find myself doubting everything I do, constantly worried. I hate the feelings I have recently, they're really not me. Since she cut him off, she has been saying she'll do anything to stay in the relationship and win my trust back. Yet, I have seen very few reasons to believe that her intentions are genuine. I still feel rejected almost constantly, like I'm her second or third option and that I'm not as important to her as she is to me. It's an absolutely awful feeling and I have how I feel throughout 90% of the day. I suppose what I'm asking is, do you have any advice on the emotional cheating? What would you do to fix the relationship from a trust/feeling wanted point of view? Any general advice would be great too. Next story 3. Boyfriend playfully kissed his brother's ex FWB and tells me there is nothing to worry about. Due to the mixture of being a teenager during the pandemic, having a strict father, and studying, I never had a boyfriend before. The person that I'm seeing, let's call him Jack, for 3 months is my first everything, first date, first kiss, etc. Jack is currently visiting his hometown, which is 4-5 HR away from the city we both live in. Last Saturday I had a flight abroad, but I wanted to see him before leaving because my return wasn't decided yet. Therefore I asked him 2 days before the flight if I could visit him on the day of the flight. He declined, and mentioned he would attend a party on Saturday. At 4:30 a.m. Sunday, he texted me but I was asleep. Around noon we texted again and he casually mentioned that while he was dancing with Maya, his brother's ex-friend with benefits, he playfully kissed her. Apparently, Maya wanted to dance with Jack's brother, but his brother asked Jack to dance with her. And he asked for a kiss on the cheek in return for the dance, but turned his head when she leaned in and kissed her on the lips for a second. This isn't the first time he mentioned her. I haven't met her, but he sometimes talks about her. He also mentioned before that she was pretty and was nice to him. He says it was for a second and that it was playful and didn't mean anything, and that he also kisses friends who are boys just because it's funny. My father is a player who treated my mother horribly and cheated on her multiple times. I had told Jack before that I will not tolerate that sort of behavior like my mother did, and that I have respect for myself. I suppose the text and the way he spoke like it was no big deal reminded me of my father's behavior, and I got really upset. I told him I can't see him anymore and blocked his number.